Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jai Mudiraye Shrinavatam Swatata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantastoya Vadrani Vido Noti Suritsatam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 1. Maitreya Uvacha Sankadya Naradascha Prabhurhamso Runiryati Naite Grahan Brahma Sutta Havya San Urdhva Res Sata. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The great sage Maitreya, the four great Kumaras, sages headed by Sanaka, as well as Narada, Ribhu, Hamsa, Aruni, and Yati, all sons of Brahma, did not live at home, but because Urdhva Reta or Nashtiki Brahmachari, unadulterated celibates, but became Urdhva Reta or Nashtik Brahmachari, unadulterated celibates. Purport: the system of Brahmacharya has been current since the birth of Brahma. A section of the population, especially male, did not marry at all. Instead of allowing their semen to be driven downwards, they used to lift up the semen to the brain. They are called Urdhva Retasaha, those who lift up. Semen is so important that if by the yogic process one can lift the semen up to brain, he can perform wonderful work. One's memory is enabled to act very swiftly and the duration of life is increased. Yogis can thus perform all kinds of austerity with steadiness and be elevated to the highest perfectional stage, even to the spiritual world. Vivid examples of brahmacharis who accepted the principle of life are the four sages Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara, as well as Narada and others. Another significant phrase here is Naite Grahan The Avasan. They did not live at home. Graha means home as well as wife. In fact, home means wife. Home does not mean a room or a house. One who lives with a wife lives at home, otherwise a sannyasi or brahmachari, even though he may live in a room or in a house, does not live at home. That they did not live at home means that they did not accept a wife, and so there was no question of their discharging semen. Semen is meant to be discharged when one has a home, a wife, and the intention to beget children. Otherwise, there is no injunction for discharging semen. These principles are followed from the beginning of creation, and such brahmacharis never created progenies. This narration has dealt with the descendants of Lord Brahma from Manu, daughter Prasuti. Prasuti's daughter was Dakshayani or Sati, in relation to whom the story of Daksha Yagna was narrated. Maitreya is now explaining about the progeny of the sons of Brahma. Out of many sons of Brahma, the Brahmachari sons Sanatana, uh, headed by Sanaka and Narada did not marry at all, and therefore there is no question of narrating the history of their descendants. Text 2. Mrashadharmasya bharya sidamba mayam cha shatruhana asuta mithunam taktu nirritir jagrahe praja. Translation. Another son of Lord Brahma was irreligion, whose wife's name was falsity. From their combination, one born two demons named Damba or bluffing and Maya or cheating. These two demons were taken by a demon named Nirvati who had no children. Purport: it is understood herein that Adharma, irreligion, was also a son of Brahma, and he married his sister Mrisha. This is the beginning of sex life between brother and sister. This unnatural combination of sex life can be possible in human society only where there is adharma or irreligion. It is understood that in the beginning of creation, Brahma created not only saintly sons like Sanaka, Sanatana, and Narada, but also demonic offspring like Niruti, Adharma, Damba, and falsity. Everything was created by Brahma in the beginning. Uh, Regarding Narada, it is understood that because his previous life was very pious and his association was very good, he was born as Narada. Others were also born in their own capacities, according to their backgrounds. The law of karma continues birth after birth, and when there is a new creation, the same karma comes back with the living entities. They are born in different capacities according to karma, even though their father is originally Brahma, who is the exalted qualitative incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. End of purport. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can use today's lecture to purify myself. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to purify myself. I'm going to read from two lectures given by His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj. Please pardon me if I make any mistake in summarizing. So, in the first words, the importance of brahmacharya is explained, right? And we can see that Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest truth, which is presented to us here by Srila Prabhupada's purports and translations. So, it is mentioned that one who is not able to keep brahmacharya is not going to be able to achieve the perfection of life. And here we can see, actually, we can contrast with two examples. Daksha, who was a great personality, we know, and he was very pious, and he was a very famous Prajapati, is an example. And then soon we are going to read the story of Dhruva Maharaj also, who left home at a young age of 5 and performs several austerities. So, Lord Vishnu blessed him to populate the world and rule for a very long time as he desired, and gave him a kingdom bigger than his grandfather, which is Lord Brahma's kingdom. But still, um, he is remembered, Dhruva is remembered as a great devotee of Lord. He is not remembered for having ruled for so long, or being a very powerful king, or being a father of many children. He is not remembered by that. Now we come to Daksha. Even though he also performed austerities and he was also asked to populate the world, but he is remembered more for the unfortunate incident that happened. We have just read it in detail, right? So this shows that he did not have the unadulterated bhakti that Dhruva Maharaj had, right? And the other names of great personalities are mentioned here, right? Now, even though the names of great personalities that are mentioned in the verse are mostly brahmacharis, but in Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see there are example of many grahasthas who are equally famous or even more famous. In fact, we can see out of 12 Mahajanas, 7 are grahastha, right? Such as Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, etc. So, while it is great if somebody can follow complete brahmacharya and dedicate their life to spiritual activities, but you can be a brahmachari while remaining in grahastha ashram also, right? And we have example of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So one time, uh, a great professor or a very renowned person came to meet him, and he was not familiar with Bhakti Vinod Thakur, but he knew his son Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati very well. As we all know that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was an extraordinary intelligent person, and he had defeated many so-called intellectuals and uh, modern people. So he was known to be very intelligent and very uh, brilliant. So when this person came to meet Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he saw that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was just offering obeisances to his father. So he said, if this person is offering obeisances to you, then you must be something great, because everyone is very impressed with him. Now, uh, while Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is obviously known as a Nashtik Brahmachari, we know that his father had many children, more than 10 children. But his contribution is tremendous, if we see. And we'll find out that while remaining a Grahastha, he did so much for our movement, right? Uh, he exposed the bogus gurus and the Sahajiyas who were prevalent at that time. And we can see he worked so hard to re-establish the Gaudiya Vaishnavism that we are able to practice today. Whereas in modern times, we see that people have become so dull that they accept anybody who claim to be a guru, or some people call themselves God also. People are ready to accept anybody and follow them, right? Why is that? Because we, the followers of Sanatan Dharma or Hindus, however we want to call ourselves, have lost their philosophical culture, right? We have become almost sahajiyas, or we just want some material benefits out of spiritual process. We no longer practice the highest goal of bhakti. So we accept anyone who claim to be spiritual and godly, and we do not try to see if their spirituality has any quantifiable meaning, right? Because Srila Prabhupada presented Krishna consciousness as a science. Srila Prabhupada never said that I am a great guru, or I am representative of God, or I am the absolute truth. No, he presented this philosophy as a science, and he wanted us to learn it, understand it, and then practice it, right? It is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 7.2. Jnanam te aham savijnanam idam vakshamya sheshatah yajñatva neha bhuyo anyan yatvam avasishyate. So Krishna says, I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So we can see here the word Vigyan is used. Not only Gyan, but Vigyan. And Krishna is saying that, right? So when we say that Krishna consciousness is a science, it is not some buzzword, right? Like we just added science to it to make it sound cool. It actually is science. So Krishna did not tell Arjun that I am God, and if you don't believe in me, I will throw you in the hell. He said, I am presenting you with this jnana, vijnana, knowledge and practical application of that knowledge. And after knowing this, there will remain nothing else to be known. There is Ishvara, Jiva, Maya, Karma, Kala, and the interaction of these constitute the reality. So, proper understanding of these subjects is called self-realization. And not having a good understanding of this results in degradation, contamination, and binding in this material world. So it can be understood only by a person of purified understanding. I mean, these are the highest subject matter, right? Most people do not have a, they are just in the bodily concept of life. They don't even know what is soul and all that. So forget about understanding Maya and Karma and Kala and all, and how they interact, right? This is very high matter. So in order to understand this, uh, we have to purify ourselves. And the purified men who are thoroughly honest can understand this philosophy. So, this principle of brahmacharya that is at the center of Vedic culture, the goal is not to just become brahmachari. That is not the end goal. The goal is that through the process of brahmacharya, you purify yourself, you elevate yourself so that you can understand this knowledge. So the goal is to understand this knowledge and develop bhakti, not to just become brahmachari, right? So Daksha had intelligence and he knew, but he knew what is the purpose, but still he was more interested in karma mimamsa and only interested in dharma by following Vedas to enjoy the material world. So karma kanda, have lot of offspring, have opulence, have respect in the society, and enjoy your kingdom. That is what he wanted. Now, coming back to modern times, we can see that there is so much degradation in society, and through the explosion of internet and TV and all kind of medias, we see that the ability to think deeply is not there in people anymore because they keep scrolling the different channels or they keep going to different websites and they are constantly distracted and bombarded by information around them. So people in modern world have become very shallow, right? They are like almost practically like animals who doesn't don't have a thinking process. So if one's intelligence is jumping here and there always, and they cannot concentrate, they cannot go very deeply in a subject matter, and then they can be easily misled, right? So we can see in today's world, somebody tweets one sentence and then everybody just believes it. Everybody is yes. So the world has become now of tweets and uh, some text messages or some words. Just people can't even write a complete sentence anymore. Whereas devotees who depend on Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and understand the word through them are at a higher level. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, as a genuine Guru, presented himself as a translator of truth received from Shastra through the Parampara system. He set up the system of discussing Srimad Bhagavatam every morning, and he gave a schedule to the devotees so that they are not wasting their time in mundane activities such as watching TV and Prajalpa and all that. So this way the brain can process the high subject matter. So brahmachari life means to be steady enough to enter into these subjects and be fully absorbed in spiritual activities. If you are on the highest level of this knowledge, then it does not matter whether you are a brahmachari or grahastha, right? So as we talked earlier about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was a great example, and he had a higher position than many sannyasis because he was at the root of our movement. He revived Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He put in context this philosophy in the modern age. He trained his children, including Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He wrote books. So even while being Grahastha, he was able to accomplish so much. So this proves that bhakti is the ultimate goal and it is superior to all other principles and processes and pious activities. So if somebody is engaged in devotional service, then they can transcend being a brahmachari or grahastha or sannyasi, all these stages. Now, the second verse here talked about, all the bad things that happened, right? So the main purpose of creation of this material world, as you know, was that those who are envious to Krishna can indulge in that envy and forgetfulness of Krishna and not make Vaikuntha Sakuntha, right? So Vaikuntha means no anxiety and Sakuntha means full of anxiety. So that is why the people have come to this world and made it full of anxiety, right? Now, Krishna loves all his parts and parcels. So he created a situation where the jivas can be reformed. So that is why this material world is created. Now, those who take up to this reformatory process follow dharma. So religion means a system of belief in God, whereas irreligion is sinful living. So as we can see in the second verse, that adharma teams up with falsity and begins with denying the supremacy of God. From this unnatural combination comes more unnatural offsprings. Practice such as homosexuality, and we can see now everything is confused about gender and all those things. They all are born out of this. And Western systems somehow seem to promote it in the name of liberalization and everyone has freedom and independence and all that. So we can see that in Kali Yuga, these things are increasing and continuing more and more because they are allies of Kali, right? So even Arjuna said in Bhagavad Gita that adharma arises when women of good families are polluted, right? So what is the solution? The solution is that we all have to follow Krishna consciousness. We have to keep Krishna at the center of our life. And then a man and woman can come together and marry and have family. And naturally, they will have good children who will spread the religion and good values. So the solution to all this is following Dharma and following Krishna consciousness. And then all good things will happen automatically. With this, I would like to end.